Sorry about that, guys. But I wanted to come on here and kind of talk about tomorrow night's Super Showdown event in Saudi Arabia. And mostly how it relates to WrestleMania. Yeah. I wanted to come on here and talk about that because you see, the one thing that's been reported over the past several days, if not this past week, is the rumored speculation, depending on if you believe any of these sources that are reporting this news, to the likes of Mike Johnson or Sean Sapp and, Pro Wrestling Torch and Frightful.com and WrestleVotes and Pro Wrestling Unlimited and Pro Wrestling Sheets and No DQ. Whether you believe any of these sources that are reporting this news to those various outlets that I mentioned, one thing is for certain: WWE is really in a bind right now. Now, some could probably speculate that it seems that WWE is more focused on the Raw side of things when it comes to Mania, and everything on the Raw side seems to be set. And you know what that tells me? You know what that tells me from a personal perspective? And I've mentioned this before in several videos. It definitely tells me that Vince McMahon is still bitter. Hear me out. He may act all happy and jovial and everything, over the fact that Smackdown is on Fox. But if he's putting more stock in the Monday Night Raw side of things than instead of Smackdown, then it definitely tells you he's still a little bitter that Raw is not on Fox and Smackdown is. But again, that's just mere speculation. But anyway, let's talk about Smackdown. Let's talk about the reports saying that the Smackdown side of things when it comes to WrestleMania is kind of in the toilet right now. And what I mean by that is this. Apparently the rumored matches for Mania are off the table, according to these various sources that have reported to the outlets that I mentioned. Elias John Cena, off the table. Bayley Naomi, up in the air, possibly off the table. Fiend versus Roman, off the table. But why? Why are they off the table? Why is there a sudden shift in decision making? I'll tell you why. Because if these sources are true, it's because whoever got to Vince McMahon, or if it's someone like Triple H himself, because there's rumors he's going to miss Mania, and maybe the reason he's going to miss Mania is because he's going to probably be running Mania behind the scenes. Behind the scenes, if you will. Sorry about that. Maybe someone like a Triple H is realizing, hey, we're going to be in front of a hardcore audience of over 80,000 hardcore, bloodthirsty wrestling fans in Tampa Bay at Raymond James Stadium. And if we pull any of the crap we're pulling right now, especially, let's say, with The Fiend and his red light or whatever, they're going to let us know. They're going to let us have it. So what do we do to fix this? What do we do to change this? And I think that's where a lot of the shambling and rearranging of the SmackDown side of things are coming into play. You see, some people are saying that the reason one of the rumored matches for Mania on the SmackDown side of things now is Goldberg versus Reigns. The reason that's being speculated now as an alternative match to take place, and possibly for the Universal Championship, is because a lot of people are saying that Roman would be less booed than if he went against The Fiend. Because The Fiend, even though the red lighting would be something that hardcore fans would let you know about, The Fiend is the kind of character, as I've mentioned before, with other people, like, let's say, a CM Punk and many others, like a CM Punk and several others, like a Dean Ambrose, a.k.a. Jon Moxley, and many others. Basically, The Fiend is the kind of character that fans are hoping opens that door and lets ruthless aggression, attitude era like, wrestling or environment back into WWE, and is the key to going back to a TV-14 rating. So, obviously, somebody knows that if they go with Roman against The Fiend, Roman's going to get booed out of the building. All the goodwill you build up for him is going to go out the door. Because right now, he still gets a positive reaction. Somewhat mixed, but still positive. And a lot of people, and obviously somebody behind the scenes is realizing, hey, if we have Roman go against The Fiend, he's going to get booed. We can't have that. What can we do? What's a compromise? The compromise is obviously going with the Fiend against somebody else, but would it be for the Universal Championship? That's a good question. You know, and then you look at Roman, and it's like, well, Roman, who would he get? Obviously, it would be Goldberg, Battle of the Spears, passing of the torch. Because the way I look at the fact that they're building, because here's what I think. If they go the Roman Goldberg route, and whether or not it's for the Universal Championship or it isn't, it's basically just another passing of the torch scenario. That's what I see. It's another passing of the torch scenario. The yard situation with The Undertaker, when he beat Undertaker, and Undertaker put his gear down in the middle of the ring, that was Undertaker passing the yard, or the ownership of the yard, over to Roman in story, if not legitimately. You know, Goldberg facing Roman and probably losing, it's passing the torch of a dominant superstar, someone that comes to the ring, doesn't take crap from anybody, and kicks ass, excuse my language, God, takes names and leaves. And that could happen too. That's probably why they would want to go with Roman against Goldberg. See if the torch will be passed. The point is, I don't know if WWE realizes what they're doing. And I think everybody would agree with that. I don't think they realize what they're doing. Because if they have the Fiend lose to Goldberg, and he loses the championship, out of all places, a super house show in Saudi Arabia, because that's what SuperShowdown is. It's a freaking house show with a few exceptions and moments here and there. It's a freaking house show. If they have the Fiend lose to Goldberg and he loses the championship, then where does he go from there? Who does he face at Mania? And the obvious answer, I think, that's also being reported as a matchup is John Cena. Because if John Cena and Elias is off the table, because Elias is super over with the crowd as a babyface right now, then the obvious option would be the Fiend. But why would you want to put the Fiend against John Cena? It's real simple. Revenge. Payback. You see, everybody's wondering, why is the Fiend the way he is? Why is Bray, the one saying, what I'm trying to say, that Bray comes up with, that he and the Fiend never forget, and he, and most importantly, the Fiend, never forgive? Why does he always say something like that? It's because it's to remind those that Bray went up against in the past, that beat him and maybe humiliated him, that, hey, I didn't forget what you did to me. The Fiend doesn't forget, and now we're going to make you pay. We're going to make you suffer. We're going to change you into something that you're not. And from a story perspective, that may work when it comes to someone like John Cena, especially if both are allowed to say what they want and do what they want, in a sense, to build up to Mania. And whether or not it's for the championship, it's up in the air. But here's the thing. The overall question is, if the end result, at the end of the day, put it this way, at the end of the day tomorrow, or at the end of the event tomorrow, the question's going to be, what direction is the Smackdown side of things heading for Mania? Will we have a more clearer path? Will we have an idea who's going to be walking into Mania as the Universal Champion? And will we have a clearer path as to who his opponent is? Because I can tell you this. If they go with the Fiend beating Goldberg, then they're going to have to change the outcome of the damn chamber match. And you know what they're going to have to change it to? Are you ready for this? Daniel Bryan. Yeah, they're going to have to go with Daniel Bryan. And why do I say that? Mania. It's WrestleMania. It's a big stage. And think about it this way. Third time's a charm. Third time's a charm. Right? And what better place for that third time to happen than on the biggest stage of them all? At the same time, the same weekend, His wife's going into the Hall of Fame. What better way for that weekend to be capped off than Daniel Bryan against The Fiend at Mania? Daniel Bryan finally conquering The Fiend, and maybe from a story perspective, freeing everybody that's been influenced by The Fiend after they have faced him. Think about that. Think about that. That, to me, is the best alternative out of any matchup for Mania for The Fiend if he walks in with the Universal Championship. You could still do Reigns and Goldberg. There's no doubt. Oh, Reigns and Cena, if you want to go again that route. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. You know, when you look at the possible scenarios, you have Goldberg beat The Fiend for the title, then you got to give it to Reigns. It's him going into Mania against Goldberg. You know, a lot of people are saying it's a lesser chance he's going to get booed. It's probably true. And if the compensation match out of that is The Fiend against John Cena, with the storyline being that the reason The Fiend exists, the reason Bray's become like this, is because of John and because of what John did to him 6 years ago at Mania, I'm cool with that. I'll take that. But we'll have to, but as I've always said in my videos, we have to wait and see. We have to wait and see. But I look at it like this. Hopefully after tomorrow, WWE has a clearer path and direction for the SmackDown side of things when it comes to WrestleMania. That's all I'm hoping for. That's all I'm hoping for. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. Now I know this video probably didn't make sense a little bit, and it probably sounded like I rambled a little bit, but you kind of get the point that I'm trying to get across, right? They need to give us hopefully a clearer path on the SmackDown side of things after tomorrow, because when you look at the scenarios they have, Goldberg against Reigns for the Universal Championship, yeah, the only positive is Reigns may not get as booed. You know, may not get booed as much in front of 80,000 fans. Because at least they know if he's going to win, he'll be around with the championship, and the championship will be defended constantly, or at least showed up, you know, defended constantly on television, instead of just having the champion appear on the screen. I'm just saying. You know, and if it also leads to us maybe getting The Fiend and John Cena, and the storyline is, you know, this is why The Fiend, you're the reason The Fiend exists. Hey, I'm cool with that too. But then you look at the wild card situation. The wild card scenario being that if The Fiend beats Goldberg, and you don't want Roman Reigns booed out of the building or the stadium at WrestleMania, then the best scenario is Daniel Bryan, and the story plays out perfectly. Daniel Bryan against The Fiend, third time, probably the last time, last opportunity, I think works. I think it works. You know, storyline, you get a happy ending out of it. The Fiend loses, he's no longer defeated, maybe his mask, his powers leave, everybody he's influenced becomes free, and they realize, and maybe some of them realize, like, oh wait, what was I doing? What was I acting like this? And then maybe you could do a storyline with everybody trying to get back at Bray Wyatt for what he did. Maybe. Again, just thinking things out loud in my head of the scenarios you could get. But, well, as I said before, we'll have to wait and see. But the big question is, will WWE do it? Will they have Goldberg beat The Fiend or not? And what will the direction be? What will the direction be after Super Showdown? Will we have a clearer direction? That's what we should be asking. Hopefully we will. But what do you guys think? Let me know down below. Talk to y'all later.